Welcome to Learn to Earn podcast. I am your host, Josh Crisp, founder of Crisp Financial. I got a very special guest here, Nick Wrobel, probably one of the craziest dudes I've ever met. Not necessarily just craziest as just out of ordinary, out of sync, but like, dude, you are just like an absolute workhorse. Like, what you did this past, what was it when you did 80-some thousand? What month was that?
That was in November.
November. I mean, like towards the end of the year, you just went off. And I was like, every couple of seconds, it was just like protecting the family, protecting the family, protecting the family. And I was like, man, this dude is just not stopping. And you live in Ohio. We live in Ohio.
Yes, sir.
And you're still working like in Washington too. So it was just like you didn't stop working. I don't even think you were eating. Nope. Which was absolutely insane. So it takes a special individual to be able to do what you're doing. But I'm excited for this one, though, because I know it might get a little rowdy, but the viewers deserve that.
Oh, yeah.
And, your journey to where you're at now is pretty cool because just like a lot of others, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen fast. It took some time, but you stayed persistent, and you also are probably a lot of like others where you got a taste of a lot of money real fast,
right?
And you took some time off. You enjoyed it, hit up a few bars, took a couple shots, and you enjoyed yourself, which there's nothing wrong with that. But when it was time to work, you worked.
Absolutely.
And, you have a very, very good work ethic. And when you're working, you're working. But what you're going to be able to do with that work ethic and the people that you're going to be able to inspire and help change their lives, that's what I'm excited about, man. Because when you kick it up a notch, and it's not just what you're doing, but what when you're helping other people do what you're doing, that's going to be crazy. And I can't wait to see that. But, before we really jump into all of that, if you don't mind kind of like, walk me through like your journey. Like I know a lot about you, but I don't know everything about you. Like, what's your background? Like, how did you even get into insurance? What did you do before?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for having me on, Josh. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. So a little bit about my background and where I came from is I was born and raised in Ohio, like you said. Went to Lake Catholic High School, wrestled at a very high level, transferred out to Crestwood, which was a little bit of a culture shock. I grew up through Catholic schools my entire life, went to a public school. I'm a chameleon, so I have a really good personality, I believe, so I can get along with just about anyone pretty much. So after that, went to Notre Dame College on a scholarship to wrestle over there. I believe they're about, 6-7 time national champs.
Wow.
So very, very decorated school.
So not a very good school.
D2 though, not the Notre Dame. That's located in Cleveland, or South Euclid actually. But I really didn't know exactly what it is I was going to do. I had 2 knee surgeries that forced me to hang up the shoes. And at that point in time in my life, I was kind of lost. I had no direction because I only knew one thing my entire life, and that was to compete at a very high level. And that was taken from me. I was just like, felt lost. I knew I just had to get my degree and then obviously get spit out into the real world. Now I knew nothing of what I was going to do when I graduated. So a family friend of mine, they had a insurance business, life and health. So part of my internship was going to be to study to pass the exam. And that thing was a monster. That was not easy. Actually, that was the hardest part, actually, of just passing that thing and getting that over with and putting that in my rearview mirror. But man, that was difficult. So
how many times did it take you to pass it?
It passed me, took me 2 times.
Okay. It took
2.
me, I passed on the 4th try.
Really?
Yeah, so it was a big monster for me.
Well, I studied for a while. Let's just say that. So I'm not a good test taker, but got that done and over with. Popped into that company. Really didn't know too much about anything. There was no systems. There was no scripts. I was actually, funny story, I was actually YouTubing making my own scripts, cold calling on what I was even going to say. I was watching other sales dudes on their tactics with rebuttals. I was just kind of out on an island and had no really direction, no tutelage to look up to. Then COVID smacks everyone in the face. So now I'm remote, fresh out of college. To be honest with you, probably wasn't working the hardest as what I should be. But my roommate, one of my really good friends at the time, was in the insurance industry as well at another place. He was a captive, but I saw his systems and his processes, and the scripts were there. And I'm like, if he can do this, I'm hearing him slinging sales, virtually. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. So I went ahead and made the jump. I did fairly well over there for a little bit. And I was dealing with my life has been a roller coaster, constantly up and down, constantly throwing obstacles and speed bumps in my way. So I actually went through some personal things where I had to move out to Florida, took another job because the insurance company was recruiting me for a sign-on bonus over there. They had a little bit more of different products, other carriers. So I'm like, okay, let me try this broker world. Maybe this is going to be good. And who doesn't want to move to Florida, right? Sunshine State.
Right.
So didn't have anything like a family or nothing to tie me down. So I'm like, if I don't do it, then I'll look back and be like, maybe I passed something up that I should have. So took the leap of faith to go down there. I was commuting from Sarasota, and if you know anything about Florida, Sarasota to Clearwater, that's like an hour, 45-minute drive where I'm suited and booted, not in comfortable clothes anymore, going virtual from working from home. I'm driving, pounding the pavement. The resources was okay over there, but there was no scripts. Again, I was usually, what I found to be true in this industry is that you either have one part of the leg and not the other. It's either the leads but no scripts, or the scripts, no leads. You just got to make it happen, figure it out. So it's either fight or flight. So I was door knocking on Saturdays. I was working my ass off for sure, and just wasn't reaping any of the rewards that I thought that I was putting in. So I'm like, I had to do what's best for myself. And I'm like, you know what? I got to check in. Maybe this is not the industry for me. Maybe like everyone posting these numbers, maybe they're just different. Maybe I'm not that good at this. So then I dove into another industry, got into tech sales, did that for a while. Now, I was able to hit a couple different strides in that industry. I did fairly well hitting my quota month in and month out, but then I got the luxury of moving back to Florida because I came back to Ohio for the job. Got a place down in Florida with a couple buddies. So 4 housemates in in Florida, in St. Pete at the time. I mean, you can imagine. And at that point in time in my life, I worked so hard, hit my quotas to go and have the blessing to work remote again. But then when I got to Florida, I treated it like a 6, 7, 8 month vacation. So I didn't work really. I had the wrong kind of discipline. I had no discipline in my life. So the only thing I really cared about is going out and partying and doing it again. I knew the bars I was going to. I know what specials were going. Dollar High Noons. I'm there. Like we're going to Tampa on Thursday night. I know the spot. I'm there. So long story short, got fired because I did nothing.
You got fired?
Yep. Got fired. Got laid off.
Imagine that.
Right. So, and then another adversity hit me, and then my papa, my grandfather, we're Italian, so we call him, my grandfather, Papa Nani. So he passed away, and that was like my best friend.
Right.
So that killed me. So then it was to the point where I just lost my job. That just happened in my family, And now I have no income. I blew through damn near all my savings, and I had to go on government assistance.
No way.
Yep. So it was like what, $500 a week. And then I was supposed to be looking for jobs on Indeed, whatever it is, to find like a new avenue. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was really struggling. And I was taking that government assistance money and just going out, partying, and then would wait for it to replenish and doing the same thing the next week. So it wasn't good. And then I started to see Dom DeFranco post over here his numbers. And I'm like, I got to make something change. So he talked to me about the opportunity. He let me know what it was. And he said that we had to obviously invest in yourself to flourish here. Well, I didn't have the money and the funds to go ahead and do that off the rip. I know I wanted to be here. So I had another job lined up. Finally, I took a logistics job, salary plus commission. I'm like, let me give this a shot. Maybe this will be pretty slick. Did that for a while, banked some money, got an apartment down in Ohio City in the Cleveland area in the city.
Just what you needed.
Yeah, right. But I knew I wasn't going to make that mistake again, because I knew ultimately the back of my head of where it is I wanted to go. And I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, but I knew where it could potentially go just from seeing Dominic's numbers. And Dominic's been my best friend, and I trusted him from what he was telling me. I mean, we've been best friends since I was in grade school. Went to St. Rita's, shout out St. Rita's. But went and worked at this logistics company. Got my money, decently okay. Got back on my feet, got established. And at this point in time in my life, I felt a little bit of a disappointment to not only myself, but, my family, especially my dad. And, that's my biggest mentor in my life. I mean, just looking up to him, he's been in sales and crushing it. So I had a good upbringing. I lived a good life. We had some nice things. I knew that I needed to turn it around for not only myself, but my future family that I aspire to have. So I went ahead and just banked my money, went back to my father. It's a little bit degrading to say this, but this is my story, but I had to go to him and ask him for a little bit of a loan to get the supplies that I needed, a desk, printer, all the things. I had it written down on a legal pad and went to him and had, this is what, it kills me to even ask you this, but this is what I need. I know I can do this. I need to bet on myself because I'm paycheck to paycheck. After I go out to a nice dinner or something, I got a budget putting $20 in my tank. I'm like, this is not going to cut it. So he goes, you know what, Nick, I got you. I believe you. He could see, told me, we talk about it, laugh about it today. He goes, you could see it in your eyes when you came to me and told me and it's all about the readiness theory is what he told me. And I believe that, at that point in time, I was ready. I was determined, made the jump, told my employer at the time that I was going on a vacation. Didn't go on a vacation. I said, Dom, give me the script. I knew nothing. I didn't even read over the thing, not once. I'm like, give me this damn thing. I had to figure it out. This is my testing phase. I had a week to figure this shit out. So I jump on Zoom. I get the script, call the clients. I'm calling the leads, and I'm just banging out dials. I'm presenting the first 2 days, goose egg. Second day, goose egg. I'm like, all right, I don't give a shit. I'm selling someone today. I'm protecting someone. So I ended up popping off. I think after my third day, I think I wrote like maybe a little bit over 5,000, and I was making like what $2,500 every bi-weekly at my old job. I'm like, I just did that in fucking a day. I was like, I'm out of here. So I it's Unitrust now, and I've been ripping this thing ever since. And I can't say enough of how grateful I am for Dominic, for Unitrust itself, Pete, Brandon, you, for everything that you've poured in and kind of gave me direction. I mean, you're the most business savviest dude I've, met in my life. So I just appreciate, everything you guys have done for me. But that's a little bit of my journey in the roller coaster that, brought me here.
Man, that's That's wild. I never knew any. A lot of that I didn't know, and it's cool to hear so many different stories because you kind of find a way to connect, right? And like you said, you're a chameleon. You can connect with so many different people, and you can get along with people. And as you're saying, and you're telling your story, I'm just thinking of things that I had that happen that were very similar to what you went through. And we all have a story. Like nothing was easy. Like everybody thinks that like they only see what we have right now or what we have when it's good. They don't see it when it was bad. They just see like what the side where maybe we post about. And that's kind of what social media does, I think, is people only post about how good life is and how great everything is. People don't post about bad things. It's kind of like the opposite on reviews, right? Like if you go online and reviews, people typically aren't posting how great the experience is. They're bashing how terrible it is. And sometimes you have to, combat with that and be like, well, do you think somebody that had a great experience is going to take the time out of their day to go online and post amazing review? Now, some people do, which we're grateful for, but most of the people that have bad experiences, they're posting it. Yeah. But on the flip side, on social media, it's like people only post about like how good things were and they don't really share their stories. So it's a humbling experience, right? Because I think people don't want to share like what they had to go through. Like the fact that you had to go to your dad and ask for help, people don't want others to know that they actually had to do that. But it's okay to do that. Like I remember to get my insurance license, I was so broke. I had to, I was working at Papa John's delivering pizza.
Really?
Yeah. I was a pizza delivery guy.
How long were you doing that for?
Too long, first off, because the guy that I worked with got robbed.
No.
And I was delivering pizzas in Akron, like by Akron U. And I was terrified. Every time I got out of my car and I had to deliver that pizza, I was scared. I was terrified. But I was like, I need to get this money to get my insurance license. Well, then I kept failing. So I was like, well, I can't keep working at Papa John's because I'm scared shitless.
Peter Parker over here.
I don't know if I'm going to make it out alive. So then I started recruiting for a guy to get him interviews. And then he was paying me to recruit for him to get enough money to pay for my insurance exam. Because like I need to find a way to make money because I just wasn't safe at Papa John's. Like, because the time that like you would make the most money was when you are delivering pizzas late at night, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that could have been just like the way I felt, but like somebody next to me got robbed and I was like, I don't want to ever experience it. Like, I'm not a big guy. Like I'm not very intimidating. Like somebody just like push me over.
Yeah.
There I go.
Give me the half sheet. And no, I'm not paying you.
Give me the half sheet. Right. But like those kind of things kind of like, it brings me back to like, sometimes you do have to ask for help, but it's not a bad thing because closed mouths don't get fed. And sometimes people are scared and then they try to do it on their own. And when you do try to do something on your own, it either delays the process or you're never even able to get started. And I feel like when you said that you reached out to your dad and he saw it in your eyes and you said it was the readiness, that's real. Absolutely. That's 100% real because when I made the jump to leave the last company to come to Unitrust, I sat down with my wife and I said, hey, I'm about to make one of the biggest decisions that I've ever made, but it's not just a decision for me, it's a decision for the whole family.
Right.
We just built a new house. We just got married. We just had a baby. And at the time, I just came off of making, I want to say like $80,000 or $90,000 that month.
Wow.
And I had a pretty large team. And I was like, I'm about to leave that company and I'm going to go start all over.
Talk about a leap of faith right there.
And she looked at me and she was like, are you sure you want to do that? And I said, look around. Everything we have here is from the work that I put in with that past company, but I don't believe it was because of that company. It was because of me. And
love that.
When I said that to her, she believed it and she gave me the confidence. But a story that I don't really share with many people, but I am open about it, is it was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary. Deep down inside, I was scared shitless. Even though I was betting on myself, I was scared shitless because during that time, it was one of the darkest times of my life. Even though I was betting on myself, I still had to go through a lot of scary times with my mental health.
Yeah.
I found out that I had severe sleep apnea. I was having real bad migraines. I couldn't even focus at work. I was like be bedridden like 3 days in a row because, you know, when you get a migraine, you can't even function. You can't even work. And then I was having like super bad anxiety and almost like depression. And I was trying to cope on my own because, you know, you have people talk about like, you don't want to get sucked into the medication. You don't want to talk to these doctors.
Sure.
And I fought it for so long and it was literally taking over my life because I just made a very big decision. And even though that I was in a good spot financially, I had plenty of money put away because I've done well in this business, it was still scary. And it got to a point where I was like, I need help. I need to seek help.
Yeah.
And I was driving my wife so crazy to the point where like she couldn't take it. She was like, 1, I'm not a doctor. 2, I'm not your psychiatrist. You need to go get help. You're driving me absolutely insane.
Right.
So I went and I seen a doctor, my primary care doctor. He put me on some medication. I went and saw a neurologist. That's how I found out I had sleep apnea because of the migraines. I saw a psychiatrist after my family doctor, and they put me on medication called Zoloft. And I got put on a CPAP machine, and dude, it completely changed my life.
Wow.
And it literally gave me the purpose that I needed, but allowed that transition to happen so much more smooth without me having to worry about everything. And I explain this because I think some people are so scared to make a jump and they're so scared to take a leap of faith, or they're scared to reach out for help because they think they can do it by themselves. Mm-hmm. And regardless if you're dealing with mental health, or you're dealing with financial instability, or you're dealing with doubt, it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to reach out to somebody because you're not meant to do this on your own.
Right.
And whether this has anything to relate to insurance or not, it's life.
Yeah.
And now look at what we've been able to accomplish.
You're not kidding.
Like the fact that in November, you were able to write over $80,000 of business in your own name. That's life-changing, bro.
It felt crazy. Honestly, when I was going through it, I'm like, is this really happening right now? But I knew I could do it, right? My goal was actually not even 80. It was like 60. But at the pace that I was going, I'm like, why sell myself short? I was actually pacing so well. My actual goal was 100,000.
Right.
But it just so happened to be that Thanksgiving's in November and I wanted to take some days off. So, I mean, I didn't hit it, but I, as we sit here right now today, I will write 100,000 definitely this year. If not one time.
No doubt about it.
But not twice. But I did want to mention something to you that I thought's important to note. Change is definitely scary. And look at it from both of our perspectives. It was, you were scared shitless to make that jump, and you did well coming from the industry, right? But then take, in my position, someone like myself, I did okay, but nothing to brag or boast about. And, you know, imagine, like, I was scared shitless to jump back in this industry without really knowing if this was going to work out. So I just think that was important to note that change is definitely difficult and scary for just about anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, you know, Josh Crisp, you know, myself or anyone.
Yeah. And that's spot on because I feel like there's so much that we've covered in such a short time that people don't really talk about, and that's why I love getting on here and being able to have a guest like you and just be able to have a real conversation. Because when it comes down to it, we're just normal people. You're not special.
No,
I'm not special. If anything, we're far from it.
right.
You have a past, I have a past. And it was funny the other day, I sent a picture in our group text of me as like in my 20s. And you're like, so this could go one or two ways. I would have really, really liked you, or I would have hated you, or I'd have beat the shit out of you. And I'm just like, he's probably not wrong.
All jokes.
But it really comes down to when we get together, it doesn't feel like work.
No.
Like right now, like it's a bond. It's like this is what we do for a living. Is we give hope, we inspire, and we motivate. And
Amen.
if we can do that to as many people as we possibly can, we've done our job. And rather people see us as somebody that they can align with, or they see us as somebody that are authentic or real, that's for them to decide.
Right.
Because we're not going to force, pressure, manipulate, convince, persuade anybody to work with us, side by side us. We want to work with people that want to work with us. And that's what's the beauty of this, is because when we do find people that we work together with, we build a very, very strong bond, and our culture is unmatched. Like, it comes down to when you made that leap to reach out to Dom because you've seen the success that he's had, you weren't only taking a leap, but you were trusting that what he was talking about, the success that he was having, he was telling the truth.
Right.
That the success that he was having was real. And not only that, it was duplicatable.
The biggest
so
part.
Now it's up to you to do the same thing. So what do you feel is most special about where you're at now in your life that is so rewarding that you can give other people that hope that you at one point lost?
That's a phenomenal question. It all boils down to unit trust and the opportunity that's literally on a silver platter just put in front of us. Everything that we have here, it's truly, and we say it time and time and again, it's a plug-in and it's a play system. Everything that you can want is here, but I love that it's not political. There's no favorites. There's no bogging down. The work ethic, that's what it boils down to. As long as you have the work ethic and the drive and the discipline, and you want better for your life, and you want out of whatever rut you're in, if you're in a rut, or maybe you're at a job that you're sick of being told what you're worth, and when you can take time off, and when you can have sick days or vacation, whatever it might be, and you're sick of being told what you're worth, and you want to take the bet on yourself, there is no better risk. Like Dom said at conference last year, and it really resonated with me. There's no better risk than to take it and to put all the bets on yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to have that little voice in your head, if you didn't, of the what if. And I'm not the type of person, you're not the type of person to have that lingering thought in your head of, what if? That's just not going to be on the table for people like us. And it's not for everyone, but I truly believe that I'm excited to share the opportunity with whoever that cross paths or with myself, you, Dom, Ron, that want to bet on themselves and make the jump for that change here in 2025, because I believe so, and I'm so passionate about Unit Trust and what we have to offer here, and the culture and everyone willing to help, that we can't get them to where they want to be in their goals, because it's not all about of putting them in of where you're at or where I'm at. It's just meeting them where they're at. And once we achieve that goal and knock that off the list, okay, now what's next? Really, what is your why? How can we help you get there? So,
yeah. And what I love most about what you just said is if you talk to all of our top leaders, the message is so uniform. Everybody is so selfless and everybody wants everybody else to win. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, if we grind together, we win together. And that's the beautiful thing.